Okay, welcome to Speaker Track B. Okay, I just had to say, we're having the best conversations, and they always happen before we hit record because I'm like, how are you doing? And that's where all the juicy stuff is. But we were just talking about this crazy time of year, and when it feels like there's so much, and you feel this obligation and responsibility to use this program and this time and the investment and all of that wisely, right? And then it's the reality of this holiday season. And we also want to be Christ-centered, and we got X amount that's already added on to the usual every day. And then you have someone like Ingrid, who's doing an entire community event of night in Bethlehem that's added on even more, right? Even though you've got people helping, that's still, it's managing, it's all the things, all the pieces, right? So what we were talking about is then we get to adjust, right? We get to adjust, and the little bit that we can offer is going to be flourished by the Lord, and that he will compensate us. And even what we're doing with the program now, he'll compensate on the back end. I've seen it for years. I've seen it in this program for 2.5 years. I've seen what the Lord does, that even when there's women who it's been crazy for them for 2, 3, 4 months in a row, that they've had opportunities come, and he just works it back around. And so it works to their benefit. So I so invite you. Susie was sending that text before, and I personally texted her and just let her know, you do what's before you. She's got opportunities now that I call it's bird in the hand instead of two in the bush. She's got these wonderful things she's working on to open this and reveal it for January. That's what she should be working on, so that starts, those seeds start planting. And then while that's going, then she can be doing the speaking stuff on that side on the back end. So I love that you had this beautiful plan, Amber, with your book and all of that. And I'm sorry that the proof was great and the pages came in funky, and you're like, what are the chances? But what that tells me, you did everything that you could. So what that means is there's probably some timing, some issue, some whatever, and on the back end, he will compensate, that divine compensation. Yeah. So way to keep moving forward. So what's your thoughts on the new year now? I love that. You know, when you don't get Christmas cards out and you're like, Happy New Year or Happy Valentine's Day. Yeah, good. What's the timeline that you're feeling good about now then? You mentioned the New Year's. What does that look like?
I was hoping to have t-shirts done, and I have like two, well, it's two different designs for t-shirts, and he's also going to do them as sweatshirts. So it's like a big project to do like both. They can choose either a t-shirt or a sweatshirt, and there's two different designs. And I was hoping to get them out by like now, and I just have not been able to like I said, I've been paralyzed by small decisions like the material or like different things, to where I realized like I just can't do it now. So it's just hoping to get those out, and then finish the speaker track, January, February. And I have a speaking engagement the end of January. It's for it's one of the people that came to the Relief Society event I did in November. This lady, she's an institute teacher at one of the community colleges, and they're doing a young adult conference where like all of the institutes in the valley are coming together, and so she wants me to speak at that one. So this is also helping like me fine tune for that event too. And I have another one that I got another one in March too.
Just like we were saying, choose a topic, choose an audience, and then be able to put that keynote together for that particular event, audience, whatever. Love, absolutely love that. And you know what? I just want to reassure you, I can't tell you how many times I've been there. We got to hurry and get this opt-in out by this holiday. We got to hurry and get this thing. And all I did was stress myself out. There's another holiday. There's lots of holidays. So you'll hit a holiday and it will be great. And you'll be able to focus on your kids, and it will all be made up. So I'm really proud of you. And there are times where you feel like, no, this is a do it by midnight, let's get her done kind of a thing. But unless it's that, I keep assuring you, both of you, it will all work itself out in the wash. It's all good. That sounds like your wins and learning. I love all of those wins and all of the learning, right? Being able to just take that long view with what we're doing while still feeling the urgency of whatever it is that needs to be done right now. Ingrid, any wins and learning for you besides the cool snowflakes? Did you guys make those?
Yeah.
They're so cute.
Those are gorgeous. Like, how did you do those? So intricate.
Well, Emma probably taught my family how to do them. But we copied, on Elf, when they say Santa's coming in the morning and he stays up all night at the mall and does this, right? And then they're like, this is good. This is too good. I think they sent in a professional. So that's what our vision was for this. We have like tinsel, you can kind of see. And anyway, so we've done this for, I don't know, maybe 5 years or something. We save the snowflakes every year and pack them super careful with paper layered in between. And so we don't make them all every year, but this is the Christmas decoration for this room. Anyway, so we turn on Elf on the computer right there and watch it while we hang all these up. We do it for like a family night or something. So
it's beautiful. Like those snowflakes are like not like ours.
no,
Ours
yeah,
look
Emma's
like
amazing. There's one that has the nativity scene in it. If you have 2 seconds, I will take my computer.
Oh yeah. I'm always thinking DTL. I would love to have her come on and teach about like how to do snowflakes. Maybe not this year, but have her teach it because I've asked artists if she can teach us about packaging. So
Can you see it's three nativity
oh my word
scenes. Isn't that rad? Anyway, okay, that's fun.
That's beautiful.
It's a cheery room to hang out in. Okay, well, wins and learning. Well, here's my win. It wasn't even me. I saw your message that said graduating from speaker track in January. And I'm like, that was the best news I ever saw. Cause I thought it was before Christmas. And I was just like, I'm going to have to do it over again.
Oh, no.
Cause I'm not making very good progress, but, so that's a win because after Christmas, I can do anything. And I really am enjoying the idea of just content and reach and connection on Instagram at this time. And I loved the download that I got in yesterday's meeting about, I'm going to do a PDF that I'm going to try to get out like in the next couple days, a free opt-in that's better than how to keep the Christmas spirit all year long, because that's not relevant for anybody right now, but I have stuff that is. And I think that would end up being shareable content that people would be like, oh, this was great, friend. You should get this,
Yes.
And just capitalize on reaching right now because 'tis the season, right?
You are spot on. What creates shareable content, right? That tip, that tool, that thing that's going to ease their way. When you were sharing about Susie's freezer meals, I was like, dang, I wish I would have seen that. I would have posted about that and the women would have known. I didn't even think about it. There were so many, pieces going on. But,
and people can still buy her thing. Instead of watching it live, you just get her recording of the Zoom that she did. So it's only $25. Like she doesn't say that up front. You kind of find that out later. But I'm like, that's the best $25 I've spent all month. And I'm not even kidding.
I'm writing this down. I want to have Susie post it and have her send me whatever she wants to have posted, because this is such a tool for people. So good.
I'll do testimonials. Like so far we've tried 3 of the meals and they're amazing. They're all amazing.
But go on and comment. Absolutely. And then once you have your PDF, send that. And then whatever you have, Amber, if you have something you want, send it to me. We're going to make a bigger stink about this in January, but we want you, when you've got things that you're sending out, you're launching, you've created, that's what we're here for. We want to be that launching pad. We want to help you be able to get the word out. So let us know what we can do.
Okay. I sent a 30-second video to Isabel.
Oh, yeah.
Surprise. Guess what I told her we do to stay Christ-centered in December.
Night in Bethlehem, let me guess.
Yeah. So I went out by our manger and I filmed it out there and I showed the little manger in the background. And then I asked her, I don't know what her role is with you, but I said, hey, if this gets posted as a reel on Connie's page, can you invite me at Night in Bethlehem as a collaborator? Because then we can both post it. So it goes on your page like you made it and it goes on my page like I made it. Anyway, it just increases the ripples.
Yes.
And she said, yeah, great idea. So I don't know if that fits in to your vision of how things are shared, but I made that request and she said, good idea. So
that is how we would love to do it when we're doing a post. Like I said, that's next year. We've got all these pieces that we're piecing out and going. Yeah. We want this to be people being more involved and stuff, but we haven't done something official on several of these things. So I love it. Absolutely. Absolutely. You are like
the collaborator thing is super easy to do on Instagram because you just invite the person as a collaborator. And I just said, invite my Night in Bethlehem page, not yours, Ingrid Sorensen page. Yeah.
I will make sure that she knows to go ahead and start doing that now. If we have other women who want to do that, and we could do that with Susie right now instead of the 2024. Love that.
So yeah, I'm going to just focus on maximizing what I can in this season.
Yes.
To grow and reach and provide content people are interested in. And then after Christmas, I'll cram speaker track a little better. And
that's just fine. And I'm sorry if I was not clear about that because of the holiday season. I know that moms were mom and so we want to keep you guys still moving forward just so that you keep seeing momentum, but we don't want you feeling stressed out. So we usually give any of the tracks, we give 1 to 2 weeks of a buffer, a bonus, so that there's as moms. But with the holidays, that just seemed like that was a better flow with how this track was going and the way everything, the big things that you guys have in process. Susie's got a lot going on. You've got a lot going on. And these are big. This is not, oh, gee, my family's coming to visit. This is all stuff to do with what you're doing. So you need to be focused on it.
And families coming to visit. So
and families coming to visit. There you go. Hence the freezer meals. Sweetie, these are great wins in learning. Absolutely love it. Ladies, I hope you give yourselves a pat on the back because wow, triple wow. This is so awesome. So I want to talk about, I don't know, has anyone had a chance to watch any of the call to action modules? Just seeing if there's anything so we know where to start from. Okay. So we talked about call to action yesterday. I would like to kind of move forward a little bit on that personally of where you're at on call to action, what help you might need with that. You know, our office hours is all about questions, so it's not so much about teaching, but I would love to know where you're at. And if you want to role play anything, if you want to go through any verbiage, if you want to say what would make my call to action punchier or better or whatever, that's what we can do here today. And then this week, I'm going to invite you to just check out the tech timing and slides. Now, if you're not there yet, you can watch those modules anytime. You can watch them in January, so don't stress it. We don't have to be linear on those 8 weeks. If you're more still working on your keynote, go back and review any of the modules for the keynote and work on that instead. And then if you want to, you can review the call to action modules. Those are really good for anything that you're doing right now. Ingrid, you can apply it to a call to action that you're doing, not just in a keynote. And if there's any other modules that you're looking through, you're like, oh, I could apply that right now, then go do that module. Don't worry about it being linear. So call to action, where are you at? What is your most effective call to action that you're using right now?
Well, I don't know how to like put my call to action in my keynote because for me it's like awkward because my hope is like firesides and Relief Society stuff. So then I don't know how to like implement a call to action in there without it making it look like I'm trying to sell myself when really they're just there to get a spiritual experience. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And you do not want to be, you know, here, try my thing, right? Because that is not an appropriate place for that. There are other ways to do a call to action that is embedded and it's soft. Okay. So if we are taking our time and energy, and it took me years to get to a good place on this. First and foremost, anytime we're doing any kind of religious speaking, obviously we're not selling anything. I've had people have said, oh, just put your books up on the podium, right? On the pulpit. And then it'll just be like, they can look at them and see that you got books there. I'm like, do you remember where you are? The sacrament table is right there. Like, please, come on.
Yeah.
So we're not desperate like that. That's not what we're doing. But we are still leading them to something. And hopefully it's something that is giving them a chance to change. So I do, first and foremost, on a more overt, the direct call to action. If, for example, I've spoken at a Stake Women's Conference and we were talking about your ideal life, create 3 steps to create your ideal life, right? So I had a 3-step mini life plan. So I checked it with the Stake Relief Society president and said, I have this free thing. It doesn't lead to anything. If they click on the link, it's not an upsell, it's not a downsell, it's just its own thing. I'd love to give this to him because I know it will create change. And she was like, love it. Absolutely. So she would get approval, and you can do something like that where you do a free download that is absolutely free and it just moves them forward. So always check that first so that we're not just offering that and the Relief Society president's like, what? So yeah, check that. Ingrid.
So here's a question. Would you bring it like printed out and give it to everybody, or would you send it to them and they print it out and give it to everyone? Or are you telling people, hey, get this before the meeting or after the meeting at my website here? What's the channel that you do that? Because I think also if you speak and people feel your goodness and your presence and they're interested in your energy and what you have to offer and all that, they'll go find you on
Yes.
social media. And
Yes.
that is like a funnel that naturally happens without you having to say, follow me on social media in a talk.
Exactly. Like I was just on that masterclass and I'm just talking about these points and already a lady's like, where can okay, I'm on your website and it says, that I'm led to a call. Is that the right thing for me to do? Right. I did not say you need to go and do a call by that point. Right. She'd already gone on and figured it out herself. In this day and age where everybody knows about socials, whether they're on or not, they know where to find you. So you're exactly right, Ingrid. I always check with the leader in charge because you could do it any one of those ways, but I check with the leader and I say, I have this thing. Are you one, okay with this? Is this something you would approve of? And two, what's the best protocol for me to get it out, right? A lot of times they want to be the ones that print it off and give it to the people. If you have the option, give it to the lady and let her print it off. It saves you on printing costs, so it doesn't cost you anything. And there, you could even ask her, is it okay if I put my contact information on there just so that if they have a question? So you don't need to put your website, you just put your email on there for more information, or like if you have questions on this, then just email me personally, right? And then that's still not very salesy. That's just more, I'm going to answer your questions if you have a question about this.
Right.
So I always go through the leader, the authority that contacted me for speaking. So even if a first counselor contacted me, I would still say, can you run this by your Relief Society president, or I will run it by the Relief Society president.
Okay.
The one who's going to get in trouble if it's not okay. And then I can say, it was her. I asked. So
Okay.
that's a direct one, right? So more embedded ones would be the stories that I tell. So when I spoke at the Singles Fireside in August, okay, I'm not going to talk about what I do necessarily. And I didn't at that fireside, I didn't even talk about retreats or anything like that. But in my experiences that I'm sharing, and I'm also speaking as a speaker, I'm talking about moving people forward, finding purpose, helping people find their purpose, things like that. Then wasn't it you that came down? Who came down? Okay, it was Lindsay. I think it was Lindsay that came down and was like, what is it that you do? Like, talk to me. And I was like, wait a minute, I don't even think I shared anything. In Relief Society stuff, generally speaking, because that was a mixed crowd of men and women, I don't always talk about retreats, but I generally do. So when I spoke to the Life After Divorce people, that was men and women, I did talk about my retreats. And so it's embedded, it's in my story. I talk about this next chapter. It wasn't the end of my life, and I'd already been led by God. And so I just needed to keep walking this path. And he opened up new opportunities for me, right? That were unexpected, that I didn't anticipate. And then I share about the retreat. Well, I can't even tell you how many people came down after Life After Divorce. And that Melissa Rollins, she's now certifying as a speaker. And she just talked about it today in her graduation interview. It was so tender. She was like, Connie, a year ago, I had this impression listening to what you were doing. The Lord said, I need to do this. And then after your session, I was like, I need to do this with you. And then I had to sit with it and go, is this really what I should do? And then that's when I signed up for the call. And that's when I signed up. And now a year later, now I am certified. And this whole beautiful process was for me sharing about that retreat. I wasn't being salesy. I was sharing a personal experience of how the Lord led me and what that led me to. So that would be the same thing for you. So Amber, maybe it would be in a situation you're sharing something about how this led you to do this your social media channel, and how you've been able to help people. And now it's led to other things where you're now creating this workbook that helps people take the concepts that you've learned and actually apply them in your life. You're not going to belabor it. You're not going to put up a picture of it, maybe, but you're going to say, and now they can take this workbook and they can take it one chillable chunk at a time that took me these years to be able to figure out what I was processing. So my experience is now benefiting other people's experiences. Do you see what I mean? So you sort of sandwich what you're doing, the salesy thing that could be considered salesy, you sandwich it. I felt this way. I was at X. The Lord led me to this. So I created this, and now I'm at Y, and it sandwiches it. So it doesn't feel like a sales pitch. You're just informing and teaching them about your life.
Okay.
Does that help at all?
Yeah, it does. Because I could not figure out like how to implement my call to action in there when it's just such a spiritual situation where people feel vulnerable. And then I'm like, follow me on social media, like that just, it didn't land organically. It didn't feel authentic, but I feel like my social media did come because of everything that I've been through, and now what I'm able to do because of it. So that lands better.
Exactly. And then you're just sharing your journey. And then
Yeah.
they will resonate with that journey as it applies to them. And they'll be like, oh my gosh, how did she do that? Okay, I want more of her. And
Yeah.
they get to have that experience themselves. Ingrid.
I do think that people will seek you out, even if you make no call to action that relates to anything that you're doing other than talking to them right now.
Yeah.
They will seek you out on social media. I've done that in tons of different settings, whether, like a Marriott Center devotionals or Education Week or guest speaker at state conference. I mean, all the things, right? But a call to action I've seen you do, Connie, in, for example, Education Week classes, is you say, you do a lot of pauses where you have people write things down. I want you to pause and write down for 30 seconds, what would you do with extra time in your week or whatever the thing is. So you're doing these mini little like exercises throughout the class. And then you say things like, I invite you to pick one of those things that you wrote down today and take one step. Oh, sorry, I'll tell you what I just saw out my window. Take one step on that to moving you toward a more purposeful life. Like those kind of calls to action, they have nothing to do with getting them to the things that you offer, free or paid or otherwise, but it has to do with them taking some action based on what you said that benefits them. And when it comes to speaking in a Relief Society or some other Education Week kind of thing, that is what we want, is we want them to have personal furtherment in their lives, regardless of if they ever buy something from us.
I love that. Thank you for bringing that up. And that is another great tool, Amber, especially when you have them. I generally end with a next step, but like even the masterclass today, I was talking with, the last one was a creative collaboration. And I asked them to write down for 30 seconds, who do you need in order to take your next right step? So you're exactly right, Ingrid. Then that gets them thinking, who do I need? Well, if I heard from her and she's giving me cool tips and I respect her, I trust her because I've just listened to her. Remember, those are the two things we need, trust and respect, in order for someone to want to make the next step with you. Then they will seek you out. They will find that thing. So I love that you brought that up, that it can be the principle that you're teaching. And then they can see, like when I'm talking about, in order to move forward, you want someone who's going to keep you accountable and up level you. You want a high level mentor, because they'll just skip you. They'll skip you steps and you'll be able to get there faster, better, happier, all of that. Right. So think about what you want to take for your next right step and who's a high level mentor that you could invite. Now, they don't have to think of me, but they might, because I've just been talking with them. They might be like, well, I know that she does X, Y, and Z. So you're right. That's a great thing to do, is have them take a minute, think about their next step. And since you've told them about your social media and how that was a way for you to process and be able to give back with during your grief and all of those things, then that will be something that will it's right there. It's top of mind. You've just been talking about. So that'll be the first thing that comes to them. So great idea. Wow. Way to add on to that, Ingrid. You should be teaching it.
Well, it's because I've been to your classes.
After all these classes, you could teach it better than I can. Not hard to do, but I'm just saying you totally could. You would actually tell the stories better. Okay, what happened in your window?
Oh, okay. The scooters, like the electric scooters people ride, like you can rent them and some people have their own, whatever. And if there's like a guy and a girl on one, she's usually behind him with her arms on his waist, right? Well, she was in front of him, facing him. So he's driving, looking over her head. She's in front of him like a hug with her arms around his waist. And they were kissing as they zoomed past my window. It was the cutest thing I've ever seen.
Oh, that's a video right there. Dang, that's cute.
They've driven past during Zoom calls before, so now I know next week to watch for them.
I bet he's got a class or something, and then they come down the hill or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, she's out there like this, just waiting.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. So as far as those call to actions that are a little bit softer, tell a story, show the need, share a principle. I love that. Have time where they can stop and think and ponder and then decide the next step. Those are all good ways that you can do that in a keynote.
Okay.
Good job. Any other thoughts that you ladies have about a good call to action? Now, remember, parts of a call to action, you want it to be specific. And then we talked about yesterday, reduces the risk, reduces vulnerability. that they should feel that there's an ease in the step of it. So whatever your call to action is, keep it simple. It should be a click. It should be find it here, like on my website, up in the top, there's a spotlight little thing, and it's make a call, do your call right there. So they don't have to scroll all the way down. If they're interested, they just go in the top fold and they can see there's a button right there and they can do that button.
Here's a call to action idea I have, is that we're going to live stream at least one of our Bethlehem performances on Instagram. So we'll have a designated person from our crew with the Instagram phone, so they know where to go and when, because they won't miss all the important action, and live stream it. So people who aren't coming, Amber, you could watch it, or
people in other states, especially
in other states, and people could share that with other people. Like if people came to it and they're like, oh my gosh, grandma and grandpa, I wish this is the most amazing thing. Let's watch it tomorrow night while we're getting together anyway, or you know what I mean? I don't know.
Which one are you live streaming? Which day?
I haven't decided yet.
I don't know. I'm thinking Christmas Eve. People are going to act out the nativity. And that's what we said. This will replace us acting out, which they're like, they just told me, thank you so much, Mom. Yeah. That's how much they love acting out the nativity. If they get triggered because I had them dress up in the weirdest things, because that's all we had when they were young. And they were like, not just towels, but towels in a bag, so it would stay on their head. I mean, it's bad. So they were like, thank you so much. So I don't know if that's too stressful on Christmas Eve, or if you think, well, families are going to have their own traditions on Christmas Eve. But you may want to do a little survey onto your audience and just say, you know, little monkey survey monkey, and just say, hey, we are going to live stream. When would be the best night for your family if you wanted to participate this and can't, you know, be there? Like, what would be the best night? And just get a feel for what people think. And then you could go with what's sustainable for you.
That's a good idea.
I hate guessing my audience's reaction. I like just ask.
That's a good idea.
I think that's a genius idea to live stream.
Yeah, me too. Because I really want to see it. So you live stream it, and then I can tell people, like, this is what she does. It's incredible.
Yes.
Thank
and
you.
we can post that. Absolutely. Say, did you check it out? We can do a little story or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe in advance. Would you do one in advance? Hey, they're going to be live streaming it tomorrow night or something.
Absolutely. And then a few minutes before, like 30 minutes before, something like that, get ready for the live stream. Because I know that's the first presidency devotional. Have it on my phone. I know it's the first Sunday, and sure as shooting, we're baking or we're chatting, and all of a sudden it's like 6:01, and we're like, oh my gosh, the devotional, right? It's because now it's been hammered every year that that's what we're doing. It's ingrained. But if it wasn't, that it's hard for me to remember stuff.
Yeah. Do you know how long a live stream can go on Instagram?
That is a great question. I don't.
Okay.
How long is your
Google
thing?
it.
How long is your?
It's less than an hour.
I know I've done lives that are close to an hour, so
Okay.
I don't think that there's a limit.
Okay. I'll probably something I could Google.
Yeah.
So would it be good to do it as a IG or a 60 minutes? Time limit is 60 minutes.
Oh, 60 minutes. There you go.
Perfect.
That's awesome. This is awesome, because now other people in other states can access it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we'll do a QR code or a link or something on a poster outside in the where people line up that says, please don't live stream it, but if you're trying to share this with somebody, here's the link to our live stream.
I love
Perfect.
That way we don't have everybody walking around with their phones.
Yeah.
that. And I would put that on the poster in a really succinct sentence: to preserve the sacredness of this event. We are
That's
already
crazy.
live streaming, so please share this QR code for others who want to participate. So
Yeah.
that it gives a reason. It's not just like slapping their hand, but it gives a reason, and then they're like, oh, for the sacredness of the event. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have been slapping their hand for years, and you just told me how to get it so that I don't have to do that, and we'll get better compliance. I'm serious, like full of chills right now. Because we've been slapping hands for years, and it's been this uphill battle because everybody wants to take pictures of it. Everybody wants to share it with people. Oh my gosh, look at this thing. It's, which we love that they feel that way.
But it ruins.
But if everybody has their phone out, it ruins.
It does. It does.
And people know, like, you go to the movies, you go to a play, you go to a concert, for the most part, people are generally clued
Generally
in to
compliant.
not
Yeah.
having their phone out, but that's great phrasing. I'm writing it down.
That's like we went to the temple open house and you just know you're not pulling your phone out. You just
Yeah.
know. Yay, that makes me happy. These are the details that matter. Well, these are great ideas. Do you want any other help with call to action? Does anybody want to run through anything, or do you want any help with it? I'm fine if we want to end a little early, if you ladies are like, I've got lots to do, but I want to make sure you're getting what you need. So is there anything else on call to action that you're like, ooh, I don't know about this?
I think the only thing for me is when I do call to action on my social media is how to get past like imposter syndrome. Cause like I just launched that joy journal and it was so hard for me to be like, this is worth your time, because I'm like, I don't really know if it is, like I put a lot of effort into it, but it was hard for me to be like, no, you really need this. Because I was like, maybe you don't. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, so I have a couple thoughts on that. Yes,
Okay.
first of all, we all feel that way, all of us, right? And I even have beta tested my stuff, and I'm still like, yeah, but that worked with that group. Do you think it would work with this other group, right? And after 12 retreats, I'm like, I think this is working. Like, I think this is working. Like, seriously, it's so bad. Like, I'm like, literally, like, I'd written probably 12 books, and I'm like, I think I'm a writer. I think I'm a writer. Like, I'm not joking. It's so bad. So you're singing my song. So try it yourself. You have to be converted. And if you're like, I know this joy journal is the bomb, then you do something that you're showing on your social media. Right now, my joy journal tonight, I love this thing, right? I just wrote my joy journal 5 days in a row. And you guys, it made such a difference. I just want you to know. So you are your first convert.
Okay.
Put it out there, your own personal experience. Then I would invite maybe 5-10 of the women that you're like, I know that they would be really forthcoming if they tried this journal and they liked it, then they would put it out there and say, I love this. So not even them for them to post. That would be amazing if they wanted to post and say, oh my gosh, yes, I've been using it and I love it. That would be so important. It's like a little beta test, but you wouldn't make it official. You just reach out to 5 friends, maybe give them a journal and say, ladies, during this holiday season, I just want to reassure these women that they're not wasting their money. Can you just write in this journal for 5 days and just tell us how it was for you, whatever. But if you just have maybe 5 friends that you reach out to and just say, can you just try it for a couple of days and then tell me how that was for you? Then you can even share that. Ladies, I just heard back from this one friend and I was so thrilled because she just was writing in this joy journal and this was the experience that she had with it. It made me so happy, right? You don't even need to have them post. You can just share about it. So you're kind of doing it by testimonial of sharing that, yes, this actually works. You're not saying I did a 6-month study and 75% of people found this incredible thing, which is not a bad idea. But for right now, you're just saying these women tried it and they loved it. And it makes me so happy. And then think about the outcomes. How is this benefiting them? So you can propose, say, ladies, do you have someone in your life that is just not feeling happy right now, is really struggling, and you want to do something for them, but you don't want to give them crumble because they're trying to lose weight and they're trying to cut out sugar in the holidays, or you want to give them a hug, but you don't, they're in another state. This joy journal, that's what this is. This is actually helping them to partner with the Lord in creating joy in their lives every day. And so if you don't know what to get someone, then here's just an idea. It doesn't have to be the only idea, but here's an idea. And I think it would really help and benefit them, blah, blah, blah. This is what it's done for me. Does that make sense? So you're kind of giving them that, you're giving them an invitation with a purpose and an outcome. If there's a person who fits this profile, this is who the joy journal would help. That's what I would encourage.
Okay. No, that helps a lot. And I feel like I wrote it based on things that I've done in my life during hard times, is kind of like the small practices that I put in there. And I think I just had this really big fear because when I look at it, it seems so simple. And I ran it by my mom and my sisters, and I was like, there needs to be more like complex questions. Like they're all just basic things. And the thing that my family brought up was like, when I was going through a really hard time 13 years ago and I couldn't get out of bed and my husband had to bathe me because I couldn't shower myself, it was too hard. Like there's no way I could have done a more complicated journal. Like I needed this simple, like things, if that makes any sense.
Yes.
So they were like, I think it's a good step for those people who are like, just don't even know where to start. which then gave me another idea of how to write another one that does bring the more complex questions for the people who are like, no, I'm in a good place. I just kind of need to elevate it a little more. Then I can bring in, Connie, I had that call with you a couple of weeks ago about how wanting to turn it more from like the daily joy into that like covenant spiritual joy, like that faith foundation. So I can write a second one that's like more elevated.
Bingo.
If that makes sense.
Before you even, I was thinking the same thing. You're going to meet them where they are at that Aaronic level. And then you're going to provide that Melchizedek level, up leveling when they're ready for that. And it's perfect. It's a twofer.
Okay.
It's perfect. So I would just encourage you in your messaging, make that super clear.
Okay.
Is there someone that's really struggling? They're really having a hard time and they don't want to show it. They don't want people to know it, but they're really struggling. That's the person who needs joy. And the way they're going to find it is in this journal and partnering with the Lord. And it's the simple, clear, organic magic that can happen for them, because this is what happened for me. And make sure and tie it to your experience. This is where I was at. And when you share a little snapshot, even if it's just a couple of sentences, this journal is for people who can't get off the floor, who don't want to get out of bed, who know that Christmas is happening around them and they can't feel it, because I was there, right? If you can say it like that, then people will read that and they'll be like, that's Susie, not our Susie, but that's, I always call Susie is like generic, my generic. That's Jane. That's Mary. That's, Jennifer, whatever. Jennifer's always like, I have 600 Jennifers in my phone. So that's Jennifer, right? So that's what I would encourage, because if they see and feel it in that post, then they start thinking of ideas and who would be, benefited by it.
Perfect. Okay. I just have to get over the fact that like, just the imposter syndrome. That's all. I don't want to say get over. I just need to work through those feelings.
Yes. Yes. And just know, whenever I feel that, I always go, yes, but the Lord called me to this, but he asked me to do it, because I can't tell you how, sorry. Right. I know other people could do this so much better. It's not, I'm not being, self-effacing. I know it. And it makes me think of, I was at that Lead by Faith. I was speaking at the Lead by Faith conference, and Sharon Eubank was the keynote speaker. And she was talking about this general authority. I can't remember who it was, or if it was an apostle. I think it was general authority. And she was recalling his experience. And they had asked him to do something. It was to do with the temples. Like he had done research, construction stuff or whatever. He'd done some research, and he was sharing the research with them. They said, okay, we want you to go and build the temples. And he's like, no, like I'm a geek. I'm a civil engineer. Like, no, I don't actually do the things. Like, I can just give you like bookworm stuff. And they're like, yeah, we know. And you're to build the temples. And he's like, no, like, no. And he went to the prophet at the time and said, it was President Hinckley in his trademark way. And he said, I have been called to this, but I'm not the right man. And he said, I know, but you'll do fine. And he did it. And so I think about that. Like, I know someone else would do this better, but I've been called to the work. And so I'm going to do what I do. And he already knows mistakes I'm going to make and all the things that I can't do and all that. So Amber, I would find your mantra that helps you stay grounded to, yes, but I have this particular situation that most people don't have. I mean, yes, there's a lot of widows, but young widows, but they're in this whole scheme of things. This is a very niche thing. And then someone who would actually be willing to go on social media and talk about it. And then someone who's staying grounded in the gospel and then wanting to help other people process that grief. And then the way that you go about it, that you have littles and you're still moving forward with joy and happiness and want to do that. That's how many funnels of that you're getting down to this niche. So I would encourage you to find your mantra of, I've been called to this and I don't have to hesitate. I'm not being braggy. I'm not aggrandizing myself. That there's not a bone of that in your body, Amber. So you can just tuck that away, because the adversary is going to try to play that piano key like this. So just go back, find a mantra that you can write or put in your mind or put on your phone, and you just go back to that.
Okay.
Can I add? If you ever think your thing is too simple or whatever, like you said, maybe these are simple questions and people will just go, I don't need a journal. I could do that simple question by myself.
Yeah.
Connie's told me the same thing when I'm talking about like home hacks and tips and things like that, like organizing or time management or whatever. And I'm like, but this is just basic stuff. Like, everybody knows this. And Connie's like, everybody doesn't know it. It feels natural to you because you have that gift. but it's what other people need. And that's why you're the match with this. You know what I mean? Because what you have to offer is special and unique, and it feels really natural and normal to you because that's your gift.
Yeah.
But not everybody has that, but lots of people need what you have to give. Does that make sense?
And
It does.
And I have one
And
more
I
thought too.
feel like that really helps, because these are all just thoughts. Like, this is where my brain naturally goes. So then I'm like, well, everyone probably does this. So then the fact that you say that is, they don't. Thank you. That hit
And
home.
it makes me think of, isn't it Helaman 5 where it's the cloud that they can't remove the cloud of darkness? Where is that? It's in Helaman somewhere. But they're in prison, and Nephi and Lehi are in prison, and the cloud of darkness is around them, and then they can see the divine being that they're looking up and talking to, but they're all like, who is he talking to? Because they can't get through that darkness. And then they said, how can we pierce this darkness? And he says, pray and then repent, right? And that pierced the darkness. That's what made it pierce and evaporate. And when people are going through rough times, trauma and processing and grief and all of that, I love what your mom and sister said, which is, you can't think. I think about going through the divorce, and I had to function at such a high level that when it came to anything that was processing feelings for me, there was nothing left over, right? I had to think about my kids and the house and all of these, and lawyers and legalese and all of this stuff. So you're spot on. If there's something that is already put together for them, they don't have to think about it. They just open it up. That's where the gift giving comes in, because you don't know really what to do for someone going through that. So in your messaging, I would encourage you to really focus on those people who can give that gift to someone else, because someone in grief is not going to get that for themselves, most likely. But it's the people around them who are like, I'm at a loss for what to do. That's why your book, that pretty packaging, that feeling of someone sees me, someone cares about me, and they want me to be healthy and healed and whole. Wow. Even just having that is a gift in and of itself. I call it the pear-tart principle. A lady came to my door. She was a neighbor that was down the way that we, because if you're on another street, you don't see each other. And she's a love. And she just came to, we had a conversation that was a really timely conversation. And after that, she opened the door. She's standing there, was beautiful pear-tart, just gorgeous. And she just said, Connie, I don't know exactly what you're going through, and you don't even have to tell me, but I am here for you. You just let me know what you need. And just handed over that pear-tart and then left. Wasn't like I needed to tell her my whole story or anything. That is exactly what I needed. And that pear-tart, it never tasted so good. I tried a pear-tart later. It was not the same. It wasn't, but it was this. That's what you're giving them, is a pear-tart. You're giving them this book that is love, and I see you. And when you get a minute, just write something in there that says you're still a person, and God knows that. And He can see you through this. That's what that says to me. Okay.
Thank you. Because I've really struggled. It's like I put it out into the universe, and then I closed my eyes and I was like, no, how do I take it back now? So this makes me feel a lot better about it.
Danny, you're saying
one thing too, after you.
No. Go ahead.
About imposter syndrome. I think we need to accept it. Almost like dirty dishes in the sink. Well, of course there's gonna be dirty dishes in the sink. We're generating dirty dishes. It's not a bad thing. It's normal.
Write this down.
Because we all know everybody has it. Everybody's trying to do anything has it. I felt it when I went to BYU as a 45-year-old college student. I'm like, faking it here. I don't belong.
Cutest thing ever. Sorry.
I have an idea for a keynote story. Anyway, we all have it. It's normal. It's normal.
Yeah.
If we didn't have it, I mean, great, that person should be teaching the class, but
no, we'd be vain, because we'd be like, of course I got this.
Right. So I think we just need to figure out a way of accepting it as a thing and just go, well, yeah, of course. It's like having a pile of dirty laundry at the end of the week. I mean, these all sound like negative things. I think we need to find another analogy, but
no, but I think that makes sense. Hits home. Yeah. I get that.
Because it is the refuse. We don't want to even think about the imposter syndrome, and it is a refuse. It's an adversarial thought. So it's a necessary evil sometimes, in the sense that we get to choose what we want to do with it, in the sense of, yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm refuting that, because I'm going to move forward and I'm going to stand in my space. And that's what I wanted to share, was stand in your space. I was working with Mandy Marie on, and I mentioned it to everyone, you know, at the DTLC, but when I was working with her about her call to action, she was so hesitant, and I had her role play. And the first time she was like explaining what she did. She was talking about the plane, right? Not the island. She was explaining how this worked, how this would help her. And instead, we worked on her sharing from a passionate place, from a place of, I love to help women be able to move through grief. I love to help them love their day. I love to help them feel joy. So when she shifted it to talking about what she was doing, instead of, well, I do this coaching, and started feeling salesy, and I do 3 sessions and I help women to be able to go through these 3 steps and blah, blah, blah. Instead, she was like, you won't believe what I'm doing now. You know how I love to like help people work on their fears and things like that? Well, it's taken me a while, but I figured out how to help people do that. And you can't believe what I'm helping these women do. This one client that I was working with, she had this big fear of this thing. And then I took her through these 3 steps, like 3 steps, but I figured out how to put them together. And because I did, she was able to do those 3 steps, and boom, she was able to overcome her fear. It was amazing. I got to tell you, it's been the funnest thing that I've been able to do. Can you see the difference? When you come from this passion and this, I'm loving to help people and I'm seeing the change that they're making in their lives. When you're coming from that, it's not salesy. You're just talking about this passion and this love that you have. And people are like, wow, I can feel your love for that. Then it's different. So it comes from a different space.
Okay.
So think about that joy that you have in your joy journal, practice
Yeah.
it yourself. And then when you're talking to someone, oh my gosh, she's talking about her Aunt Bertha, and you're like, oh my gosh, do you know what? I remember being there. Or I had this one gal that was talking to me, was in that same spot. You know what? She started doing this joy journal. You can do one of mine, or you can do your own. Just start doing this little prompts and doing joy journal. And I promise you, it makes such a difference. If you come from that space, it doesn't feel overwhelming.
Okay. Thank you.
You make this such a joy talking to you about this stuff. Oh my gosh, you're just doing amazing things. And I'm feeling all Christmassy and feeling this joy. And I'm thinking, I'm going to write about joy in my journal tonight, just specifically joy. We have that little Christmas word book, and we have to, I think I'm going to choose the word joy tonight just because you've inspired me. There you go. Thank you, ladies. I love you. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful week, and keep it going.
Okay. Thank you.